Whew. Okay, we are live. I'm not seeing any drop frames. Give me just a minute to get the word out, y'all. I know it's been a while, and I am so sorry. I will get to that soon. But until then, enjoy the pick of the snow that we're dealing with up here. I love where I live, though, so I'm not complaining. I'm just glad to be home. 4 days I've been back home, and I would not trade this for the world. I'm telling you right now. But welcome to the Bonnet Chronicles. I'm your host, ckery GXE. I know it has been a while, y'all, and honestly speaking, it wasn't on purpose. Hey, welcome to the chat. Lowtow. Welcome, everybody. I just want to let you know that I appreciate all the well wishes, all the positive vibes that were being sent. It was a rough thing with my calcium being low. I had already said in previous Bonnet Chronicles, it all started in December when I got that food poisoning. But unfortunately, I learned today that I got a bit played at the one hospital that I had to go in 3 times to. They kept sending me home over 6, which was double what I went critical back in December. And I guess they thought a 6.8 was good enough. No, it's not. You could still feel symptoms. Yesterday when I was going in for my labs, I told them I was still feeling symptoms of chest pains and tightness and stuff from the hypocalcemia. And they tested me at a 7.4 now, so I am steadily going up with the medication, but it shows that the hospital discharged me on Monday of last week telling me I was at a 9 point something, and they lied. And now Greg is pissed. He wants to argue with people. I'm just like, we just won't go to that other hospital anymore. We will go to the hospital that's closer in town, that does a thorough thing, because this is dangerous. I have a problem with my iodized calcium right now and my regular calcium. They got my magnesium and potassium levels up, but I got food poisoning. Is it low? Okay. Hey, Beans, welcome to the chat. Let me make sure my mic isn't too low. But hypocalcemia is very dangerous. When I initially went in, because I had about a food poisoning, about a week's misery, it completely depleted my system. I was always more worried about my anemia than anything else, so I kept my hemoglobin up and I depleted my calcium levels. The first time I went in, it felt like I was having a stroke. I found out that my calcium was under, I think they calculated it at 2.9, just under 3. So they got me bags of stuff and they admitted me to their downstate hospital. And it wasn't a bad experience, but I definitely wanted to go home. So they got me above a 6, and they was like, okay, you look like you're doing okay. You're up and about. You should be all right. I wasn't all right. The second time, they kept me for 6 days. Got out. It was right after New Year's. Was determined not to get back. But again, they released me underneath a 7. Had to go back. This last time, I had to deal with the most rudest young doctor I ever dealt with in my entire life. If it wasn't for the nurses, I would have lost my mind. Because they had me in the room with an elderly dementia patient who also is schizophrenic. So I tried to be mindful and understanding. But 4 days of her screaming, trying to get out of bed, which they had an alarm on, falling twice, and then her family coming in trying to get me to say that maybe the staff did it. No, they didn't. They tried to help her. Finally, Greg was like, I'm done. Because I was starting to get depressed. I wasn't getting sleep from getting lab pokes. I wasn't getting sleep from being in a literal hospital. And every time I tried to fall asleep, my next door neighbor decided that she was going to go crazy. So he called up, and I don't know if you know, Greg is like the sweetest guy in the world, Axiom Wolf on here on Twitch. But when he gets mad, he gets super pissed. And before I knew it, they were moving homegirl closer to the nurse's station. So that's what having somebody who cares about you and advocates for you, making sure that you're okay. He also stopped the rude young doctor who prescribed me something with some shellfish in it. Now, I don't go telling all my business, but I have an extreme shellfish allergy. So I can't even take meds with parts of shellfish in it. And then they tried to say that I told them I could take it, when it was clear my first 2 hospital visits, I had the bracelet that had all my allergies listed on it. All the nurses knew my allergies, and one of my nurses argued with the discharge doctor that my iodized calcium didn't seem high enough. That's still on the low level, but it's slowly going up too. I had to order my own stuff. These are calcium supplements that I will be taking until the actual stuff that I'm supposed to be getting, which is calcium carbonate, which I can't get till next month, comes in. But it is frustrating right now dealing with a hospital system that my insurance company showed me everything that was built. Y'all got a lot of money out of my visits, and I feel like the first 2 times I was treated a lot better than that last time. And I do blame the younger doctor, because the nurses were great. The previous ER stint was better. When I went to do my labs yesterday at the hospital that I probably should have got transferred to, in and out. So what drives me nuts is knowing that he lied, because he told me right at discharge that my levels were over a 9. I went home thinking I'm going to be all right. I didn't do much, just some light housework. I started feeling off right before the labs. I was like, oh God, please don't have bad labs. They like to hospitalize you for critical low calcium. So I went there fretting yesterday, thinking they're going to get me again. I'm going to be stuck again. And no, luckily I was at a 7, but I thought I dropped 2 points. So when I signed up for the hospital that I was previously in's chart, just to check something, 6.8. So why did the doctor lie? That shit is so frustrating. There is a supplement that they tried to put me on. It's a calcium supplement with oyster shells. Now, I don't know how high of a dose the oyster shells that they grind into it is, but I don't fuck with anaphylactic shock. I've gone into it twice in my life. It is not a good time. So anything potentially, I have to modify a lot of my family's recipes because I can't use oyster sauce or anything like that. Because even a small part of seafood or iodine or any of the metals that are in the sea gets in my system, I am going to have a rash. My throat is going to close up. And I already went through that with hypocalcemia. I don't want to deal with that again. So I am sorry that it took me 3 weeks to get back to good, to do what I need to do. But I was really going through it with this. Nope, they had to make sure when I did my MRI that I didn't take the contrast because the iodide. It is a mess right now. And that is why I am super careful. And that is why it's scary when you have a doctor who, he literally didn't listen to us. When Greg and I wanted to ask him questions about what we could do naturally after we got out to raise the iodine, he was like, oh, I don't have time for that. Just deal with what we're trying to maintain to get you up with. I'm like, sir, this is important to me because I've been in here 3 times. I don't want to be back. And he was very curt until he seen that my levels were steadily going up and he just wanted that bed, and they could have had that bed. I did not want to be in a hospital. I do not like hospitals. I've been involuntarily hospitalized back in the past. It is a very touchy subject for me, and not having the freedom that I'm used to having. The way they got me up the 3rd time, they had to put fall risk on me. I'm not a fall risk. I actually did physical therapy again, and they let me walk around the floor with my earbuds on because I don't like not moving. Right now, Greg is like, you need to stay put today. Because I got up, I cooked lunch, I made breakfast for everybody, and I kept it light. No folding in clothes, no heavy laundry. He handled that. Just a little bit of light housework so that I can move from out of this bed. I think people don't realize that when you finally start taking your health seriously, immobility can really destroy you. And it really does depress you when you can't do stuff. Exactly. I'm just like, I get so annoyed when doctors don't listen though. Because if I and it's my fault too, because if I had listened on the first admission in December, it was right around New Year's. I didn't want to miss Greg's birthday, but the doctor was an older gentleman, and he was like, we want to get your levels higher, but you are sustainable enough where you are. I will release you, but I really want to keep you, and I should have just stayed then, but I don't like hospitals. So I wish in hindsight that I just listened to that doctor, because he would check up constantly, and he's an ER doctor. So I know that they're busy. And that's why I tried to be nice about that young man in the third visit, being so curt. But I'm your patient, and I'm scared because nobody's telling me anything. They did scans, they did checks on my heart, because at the ER they were saying because of the low calcium I was getting an irregular heartbeat, and they was worried about that. Stuck with a 1-pound heart monitor, you knew I was getting up out of that bed, because at least that was a little bit of weight training. But it was frustrating feeling like they're doing all these tests, but I'm not hearing back. Not diabetic. My blood glucose range before eating stays at 80. After eating, about a 99. I have never been over 100. Take that, heifer, if you're watching, which sometimes I know you do. I've lost 21 pounds being in the hospital. That's not the way I wanted to drop weight, but I'll take it. It'll make exercise even more easier when I'm cleared to get back to it. I've got a whole week of specialists to go through, a mammogram. There's a lot to maintain myself, but I'm getting closer to 50, only 3 years away after June. I'm not planning to fall apart. I got too much to do. I got writing done today, and then I wanted to show off, and I was going to do this in different order, but I think I'm going to show off this. First off, this cozy, lovely Frosty the Snowman blanket, and I will take a full picture with it, from Smokey Steve and Mark. During December, I won a ton of fan community tab contest, and Smokey Steve and Mark are some of the sweetest guys I know. They sent stickers, just cute stickers. They are such a cute couple. I think this one might be Good Vibes again. And just a lot of just little knickknacks and stuff. And I know a lot of this is Mark's doing, because he does a lot of crafts and everything, and it's even a cute little bag. I've got buttons and stuff too. It is adorable. They also sent a Smokey Steve and Mark Good Vibes t-shirt. Let me open this bad boy up, because Greg didn't want to open up all my stuff while I was in the hospital. And it's just adorable. Definitely good out and about on the town stuff. So I am really thankful. I also won this lovely, lovely necklace from One Salty Beach. And Beans, I know that you are on YouTube with me from time to time. You have seen this. I'm going to have to fix this up and keep this away from Callie, because she will more than likely think this is a new toy for her to play with. But it was nice knowing that I would come back to such nice things. She also sent a card. It's so cute. Thanks a guac. And Salty is just a nice person. I'm lucky. But then I got another surprise. And this one's a bit smaller, not in niceness. But it was something that I forgot, because y'all know, if you've watched me for a while, I do believe in helping friends, donating to charities and stuff. It even came sealed, so I was like, who's this from? Because I don't remember winning any other contest. And it's a thank you from, the stickers fell out, from our dear friend Wenger, who did a charity stream here on Twitch. And I might not be able to give much during charity, but I try to give where and when I can. And these stickers are so cute, Wenger. Axiom Wolf and I thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We hope by next year, if anybody is running the same charity for kids and hospitals and all that stuff, that we can help more. And I also want to thank everybody for this. Because when I was in the hospital the second time, thought about it. Axiom Wolf had to keep traveling downstate. He missed a lot of days of work. And I lost out on a couple of gigs. I was able to get some scripts off to my friend who's collaborating with me for the webcomic. But 3 weeks of no work is rough. I just did my taxes and I think I'm going to be okay. But it was good to have friends looking out. And I know a lot of you shared the link with a private donation. It is at $19.35 actually. So we're not going to keep pushing it really. I will put the link in the bottom of the show notes if I need to. But honestly speaking, I thank you all, because honestly, I was worried that I was going to tank everything that we worked so hard for. We just got this house in November, and my fear was my nonsense was going to ruin everything. And Greg kept assuring me he don't care about that stuff. He just wants me okay. But I do care about this stuff, because I don't want to see our happiness spiral because I didn't keep my health together, because I was being stubborn and thought when I got food poisoning that I could just power through it. And I'm telling you, after 40, go to a doctor. Don't do what I did, because that stubbornness damn near killed me. Let me also show you just a little, just to get a little chuckle. My merch store now has new stickers, new shirts, and a new mug based on the Calling Out the Heifer series that says "You are full of carbs and lies." Anybody who's been watching me knows that I've been going a bit hard at Foodie Beauty's nonsense. I did a double react earlier on YouTube, and I have decided, since our Gen X Cynics has to be on hold, Action Wolf works on Saturdays and Sundays now, that I am going to dedicate Saturday afternoons. Got to decide on the time, because I really do Saturday cleaning. But Saturday afternoons will be dedicated to a Calling Out the Heifer once a week, because she don't change. And she's honestly not worth more than one day half the time. And if I have to do a long compilation, I've never really done a YouTube live before, so I'm going to be new at all of it. But if I can learn Twitch and OBS, I can learn YouTube. I tried to do the double stream thing that a lot of the young chippies are doing. I broke OBS doing that, so I'm not going to do that. My YouTube lives will be separated from Twitch. That's just how it's got to be. I've amassed almost 600 people on Twitch that really want to see me call out the heifer live, so I'll give it a try. If I like it, I'll keep at it once a week. If I don't, y'all will know, because you know, Tin don't do nothing she don't like. But I definitely want to get to the Karma Roundup. Those of you who follow me on social media know what I'm about to talk about, because it was hilarious, and because it couldn't have happened to a better jerk. So let me get that link, because I was shocked that this happened so soon, especially with the way karma works out sometimes. But let me get this up, because I bender laughed at this one. Let me make sure that I didn't have this in another browser thing, because I just want to make sure I properly display this. So we'll pop the merch store down. No, it's not that one. Okay, give me just a second, y'all, because I had all my links lined up. But you know me, it's not Bonnet Chronicles without me meandering.
All I want to do is see you turn into a giant woman, a giant woman. All I want to be is someone who gets to see a giant woman.
Thank you so much, Beans. And 21 months, that is amazing. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Oh, there we go. I really do appreciate everybody who stuck it out with me. You're the reason why I was able to truly file good taxes with Twitch. Like, I didn't even know I got such a good payout last year, but it was all the support of people who watch these Bonnet Chronicles, and I appreciate you all. But as you can see, I have brought up one of the funniest things, and I was like, oh no, I've got to change my show notes now a bit, because I'm definitely going to talk about this. Trump must pay Jean Carrol over $83 million in defamation damages, a jury rules. Sometimes karma does come to collect. Apparently, the former Turd 35 must pay writer Jean Carrol over $83 million for repeatedly defaming her. The 9-person jury held in federal court in New York at 1:40 p.m. reached a verdict in just under 3 hours. And I can tell you, as somebody who knows civil litigation just a little bit, if they come back in 3 hours, it's not going in the defendant's favor. The award included $11 million in damages for Carrol's reputation, $7.3 million for emotional harm and other damages, and $65 million in punitive damages. She had some good lawyers, y'all. But that idiot also went on the record calling her out of her face, mocking her looks, and just attacking her left and right like a big old man baby. So I'm so glad that the jury did this. The decision came after contentious closing arguments that saw the big man baby storm out of the courtroom. He returned for his own attorney's closing arguments, but left the courthouse at 4 p.m. before the jury. So his antics even probably swayed the jury in Jean Carrol's favor, because why would somebody normal act like that? And you know, I spent almost all the last year barely bringing up the turd of 45 because I don't like talking about that man. I don't like invoking that evil on my channel. But I do love when bad things happen to him. And the baddest thing that can happen to him is when they take his money. He posted on his social media platform, I can't believe he owes True Social money. I can't wait till that site tanks. This is absolutely ridiculous. They've taken away the First Amendment rights. This is not America. It is America. There, you can say whatever you want in this country, but you find out really quickly that it doesn't absolve you from the consequences of your actions. But some people, they like to play around. They like to think they can say whatever they want. The people that say racist stuff and get busted on TikTok and then lose their job, talking about, I thought I had First Amendment freedom. You have freedom to say whatever the fuck you want, but you don't have freedom from consequence, dum-dums. I guess his lawyer thinks that it reeks and calls it a violation of it's not a violation of the justice system. It's a civil court litigation. And I need to remind you that he spent years tormenting and insulting this woman. Look at that poo makeup on his face. He looks ridiculous. I honestly do not understand why he doesn't have anybody in his corner that tells him to stop with the weird pancake makeup bronzer, because it ain't a good look, man. But, you know, this is Trump. You can't tell Trump anything. And it's annoying because you would think that he would have somebody in his corner saying, man, this ain't it. But he doesn't. And that's sad for him, but it's a happy for me. I would much rather karma come to collect from this person. But speaking of karma, the train keeps rolling on. This was what I was originally going to open up with, and we have some time. This was a news article that inspired me to talk tonight about karma, because they're changing up the death penalty in a lot of states, and Alabama just put inmate Kenneth Smith to death. He was involved in a murder for hire where he murdered a preacher's wife a few years back, and he went through a botched attempt on his execution a few years back and kept appealing, and they say he was gaming the system. And like I said, I am very weird about the death penalty because I like the court system to be a bit better. That way we don't have innocent people going to a gas chamber, being lethally injected, and dealing with what Kenneth went through where it didn't take properly. But now they're trying a new nitrous oxide death penalty thing. And while I am not anti-death penalty, and I know some people are like, Tim, what? I thought you were liberal. You can be liberal and for certain things. I'm a pragmatist. I've also been the victim of both violence and sexual assault. So no, I do not believe that, oh, you got to be anti-death penalty. If that's you, that's fine. There is room for all of us. Peace people and chaotic neutral assholes like me. If you commit a violent crime, if you take a life for money, if you take a life for any reason and get the death penalty, especially if they can credibly prove what you did, I don't feel sorry if they take you out. You've already shown you do not have respect for life. So while I don't weep for this Kenneth person on that level, I am worried that, especially Kay Ives being the governor, talking about, oh, justice was finally metered out and all that stuff. Because if she had it her way with her little noose ads and shit, she would be putting a lot of people that look like me through all of that. And the idea of gassing somebody to death sounds really, really inhumane. But when you think about who they're doing it to, I can't muster enough fucks to give. So while it is sad that we still are a society where we have to have a death penalty or a prison system, until we raise people to stop treating life like it's disposable, stop treating bodies like they can do whatever they want to them, until we become a better, educated, well-rounded, and connected society, which humanity was supposed to be, but we're still not getting that. Until we get to that day, I'm pro-death penalty. And I'm sorry if that offends people. I do not like the thought of somebody who can willingly kill, whether it's for money, whether it's for vanity, whether it's for rage, walking the streets among us. And I would, at this point, even put sexual predators on there, because they take from us, and it's a life sentence. But I know you don't normally get death penalty for rape. You should. Maybe it would deter some of these fuckers, but I know we won't. He was 58 years old, and I'm sorry, not sorry, but he chose that life. He really did. He decided, for some reason, that taking a life wasn't a big deal. But he spent years able to appeal. And I get that the justice system wants to be fair, but it feels like it's more fair on the side of the perpetrator than the victim. And that's inherently frustrating. It's why so many of us have a problem coming through and snitching, as they like to call it. Why snitch when the person could legitimately get out? And speaking of which, because this was what really got me fucking heated. And trust me, I have my notes ready for this one. Because I can believe it, but I hate that I have to. Let me get this one up, because you know I had to side-eye this one. These three goobers, and if you don't know who they are, you're lucky. But they murdered Auhmed Abery a couple of years back in Georgia. The man was just jogging in the neighborhood that he was familiar with. But these three bozos, Larry, Daryl, and Daryl, not to offend those who like Bob Newhart, because they were my favorite part of that show too, decided that he didn't belong in their neighborhood. And instead of like maybe calling the police, maybe minding their own business, these three bigots decided, we're going to chase this man down in our pickup truck. We're going to corner him. And when he tried to escape, because he was fearful, anybody would be fearful if these three goobers were chasing them in a pickup truck like it was the fucking 1950s or before. Like there's some kind of slave catchers channeling their slave ancestry. But what was worse was they decided that his running was bad. They pulled out shotguns and they murdered him. Shot that man in the back and thought they were doing a good freaking job. And recorded themselves doing it. The digital age is really good for idiots. It really is. Because you document all your stupidity. But now, they get to argue appeals on their hate crime, even though it was caught in 4K. They want to completely throw out the hate crime convictions, which it was. He was 25 years old. He was chased by pickup trucks, fatally shot in the streets of a subdivision outside the port city of Brunswick. February in 2020. 2020 was already a rough year for a lot of us. And the fact of the matter is, the dimwits recorded their actions because they thought they were justified in chasing an unarmed black man who was just jogging. What troubles me is the fact that they can waste the court's time constantly appealing, and now they want to not call it a hate crime. What do you call three white men in pickup trucks chasing a black jogger and then murdering him? Because if that's not a hate crime, I don't know what the fuck is. And they say that sparked the national outcry. This was right after George Floyd. This was right after we watched a police officer literally kneel on a man's neck for 9 minutes. And on top of Elijah McClain, who was just trying to walk home from the store and got held down, had ketamine administered to him, and died. So it is already rough in our own country to survive. But to have these citizen goobers decide they're above the law, and if you don't look like you belong in our neighborhood, we're going to chase you down and shoot you. No, no, no. the McMichaels, who are father and son, you know, those two thumb-looking motherfuckers, and Mr. Bryan, stood trial on a hate crime charge in the U.S. District Court less than 3 months after all three were convicted of murder, because that's what they did, in a Georgia state court. Federal prosecutors used both their social media posts, which I keep telling you, dum-dums, that shit's forever. Once you post it, somebody is going to screen cap that shit. So don't post your bigotry online, dummies. Text messages and other evidence of past racist comments by all three men to argue that they targeted Arbery because he was black. No shit, Sherlock. Anybody with eyes could see why they did what they did. But so many people want to play games. Well, maybe it wasn't complete bigotry. They just didn't know. We literally have castle law here in the States. As a homeowner, we are very versed in that. If somebody tries to break into the house because Greg is a registered gun owner, we could legally defend our property, but we also have to administer aid. So we hope that we never get in that situation. I know some weirdo gun nuts here in our country, they live for that shit. But ain't no way I'm chasing somebody down the road because they're jogging near our property to harass them. That is a level of entitlement that people like me just don't understand. And what drives me nuts is that they argue in the court filing they chased him because they mistakenly believed he was a criminal. Why did you believe he was a criminal then? If he had been a white jogger, would you have chased him then? And even if he was a criminal allegedly stealing stuff from a house, which there was no proof of that, they had nothing on him, he was literally jogging. What was your reason to be judge, jury, and executioner when none of you were in law enforcement? Not a damn near one of you deputy dogs. All this hate is exhausting. And I am exhausted watching people try to justify this heinous act. Auhmed Abery's memory should be cherished. And these convictions need to stand. There's absolutely no reason for this appeal to be anything but tossed out. And these men need to go back to jail and spend the rest of their lives thinking about the life that they extinguished because they're bigots and racist. Because when you target somebody that just looks like a criminal to you, without really having proof because you are not law enforcement, what else are we supposed to fall back on? It's a fucking hate crime. He was killed on public streets. It was literally caught in 4K. Like so many other literal lynchings in this country. But those three goobers, they really think they got a lawyer that's going to get them out of this stuff. I'm not even going to wish them luck. I wish them all the worst. But we're going to get to a more lighter thing because I don't want to end on heavy stuff. I got to laugh at Trump's karma. I got to talk about my really rough time at the hospital, and I got to vent about how annoyed I am with these appeals and how concerned I am about the new death penalty, but I'm still not anti it. But I want to wrap things around to something more lighthearted. And those of you who watched me in previous know that I adore the Fresh Prince of Yup. I reacted to his struggle meals. I'm promising you now, I am not going to gross you out with that tonight. He has got some funny tweets that I want to watch with y'all and react to. I have not been on Twitter since he rebranded it X and decided that being able to block people is not allowed. It's just too much of a toxic site, and I know now that I've ventured in the girl world, a lot of them want me back on Twitter. I think I should get a TikTok and all those things. I'm happy you're on Spoutable. I'm sorry. I like my peace. I like a social media site where I can protect my peace. I keep getting invited to their pods launch. And the last time, sorry, Mr. Boozy, I was in the hospital bed when I got that invite. I definitely want to try pods, though, because I feel like they are going to be way better than what Twitter had, those gatherings. And if pods works the way I think it does, I can actually start doing more interviews for the Bonnet Chronicles and beyond. So I'm super excited about Spoutable. And their 1 year birthday is coming up next month, so I am super hyped for that too. So if you aren't on Spoutable yet, join. It's free. It's a really nice place. You can follow me. I will definitely follow you back. I'm trying to keep that follow count even, unlike I did on Twitter, because that got away from me. Once it hit past 30K, it was harder to keep track of that. And it's not to brag. There are people with millions of followers on that site. But I know that every one of the 30K that followed me, when they did, followed me because of the stuff I talked about, because of my interactions, because it's literally social media. Y'all will never be numbers to me. And even if it takes me days to respond to get back to all of you, I will try my hardest because it's supposed to be social. I do the same thing on YouTube now. I like interacting with people. But we're going to get this fired up because I only have less than 30 minutes and I'm going to stick to the hour. I promised Axiom Wolf that I was taking it easy. And I do not want to deplete my levels before next week's round of specialists. Because if they try to hospitalize me again, I might have to fight somebody. But let's get the Fresh Prince to Yup cracking, because he is hilarious and I enjoy his stuff.
Y'all, I'm at my friend's house and I go to use the bathroom and...
Oh no. Oh no, the fuckery started early. Let me get my headphones on because, wow. I ain't never seen a rug on the toilet. And it's a brass. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to let him go on because that, oof. I'm sorry, I promised you no growth. He's so silly.
Cool nerds, for those of you who watch anime, please watch Mashle, Magic and Muscles, Season 1 and Season 2. Specifically Season 2 because the opening is a banger. Certified heat. Turn it up. Anyways, y'all, welcome back to another video. We're going to be looking at some more funny tweets. You know, look at this. 2024 consistency. You know, as they say, manifestation. You know what I'm saying? Let's manifest.
I didn't say no manifestation. That shit kind of gets on my nerves. It feels like a young person's thing, and that's not me, man. I can't say manifest. I'm gonna make shit happen in 2024 because I need to. I want to get the second book in rough draft form at least finished. We're gonna get Anbon launched soon with Curie Bell. There is so much on the horizon. I did more character renders using Doll Divine for the Olorun characters because that isekai's coming, and then I've got a second story that's been developing in my brain, one for a transgendered female to male story that I think I can really pay respectful homage to what they go through. So I'm excited about that. With my growing up in New York, I really think I can use some of the stuff I knew growing up there and some of the stuff going south to weave a story about a trans male's life, because we have seen amazing trans people stuff with Pose, and I just think that this story can give, because it was Twitter where I seen a young man that had transitioned say, well, I'm proud of Pose, we'll never get something like this. And that's when I started jotting down the short story. It's not finished yet, but when I was talking to a member of the LGBTQ, I sent them just a rough draft of it and they liked what I had. So I'm working on that and Dark Reign. There's so much on the horizon, y'all. But I'm going to get back to Fresh Prince of Yup.
Some consistency, you know what I'm saying? Stop it. But y'all, we're going to jump right into this. Y'all already know what to do. Smack that like button, sub with notification on. Let's get it.
Yep,
My job gave me this.
Ooh, I thought I hit that like button.
That says freak in the sheets, you know, and it's like a play on words because it's like Excel sheets, like spreadsheet, you know what I mean? And my thing is like,
I am that nerd that uses Excel for when we do hardcore season in DDL. I'm not really that great in it, but I know the basics. I would never want somebody at my former job when I was a bookkeeper sending me crap like that. People think it's funny, but after the 80s and the 90s, stuff like this would be an HR disaster because that violates a lot of rules of engagement at work. I'm just saying.
Like, is this borderline harassment?
It is.
Or no? Yeah. I'm gonna tell y'all straight up now, a job would never hand me one of these mugs because I'm terrible at Excel. Like, people be doing algebraic and scientific equations on there. Bro, I can't even add 2 + 2 on there. Y'all ever apply for a job online? You be on Indeed or careers.com, wherever you apply for a job online, right? And then you see like the summary of the job. You see like the...
One moment, because chat is not moving. So let me get that doc back. Because I know that chat was moving. So let me bring chat back this way. And reset chat. Just check in chat. Okay, there we go.
Qualifications and like what you have to offer, and maybe even a salary range, right? But there's that one thing I always see, and it's like proficient in Excel. Once I see, come on, man. But if you don't know, you know. Like somebody like me, I'm lying. They say proficient in Excel. I'm more than proficient. I'm an expert. Okay, they used to call me Mr.
Like I tell people all the time, because I used to do resumes on the side for people. You can pump up some of your skills, but don't flat out lie, because the moment they put you to task and they realize that you lied on your resume, a lot of jobs will have credible reason to let you go or consider you when they have to downsize. It's always best to try to learn the skills at home slowly. There are tutorials and everything where you can learn Excel and other things we had to use for bookkeeping. We had a smart system that I had to learn. It takes time and it takes effort, but if you forge that resume, it can be held against you. I warn people all the time. I don't do resumes anymore, but I might have to get back to it if I keep getting sick like this.
They still call me Mr. Excel. Okay. But then say you get there, or say I get the job, the time come around and they tell you do the spreadsheet and like you just do all the, and I'll just be like, okay, but for real though, let's get back to the picture. What if somebody at your job, especially like your boss, handed you this mug?
Would be me.
The sheets. Like, I'm gonna take this the wrong way. I feel threatened. I feel harassed. I'm taking this up with HR. I'm suing. Okay, unless you look good, you know.
Slow down, baby.
And that's the thing too. I don't even like talking to people on my job. Like, if I worked in the office, I'd be thinking about stuff like,
"Hey, Grandamir, big hugs, dear. I saw your DM, and I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. I was in and out of the hospital for a bit, but I'm back. I'm home. I promised Axiom Wolf that I would be on bed rest until I get cleared next week from the specialist. But I am definitely back. I wanted to do a Bonnet Chronicles, and I'm just reacting to some funny. I got all the sass out of me earlier with the news and politics stuff. Now I'm just going to wrap the night up with some funny reacts. And Grandamir is amazing. Yes, I am doing much better. I have the proper medication now. My calcium levels are steadily going up. Hopefully by next week's specialist visits, if they got to do any more labs, they'll tell me that I'm still at least in a good place. Because that was scary. But I'm definitely back. I will be in people's chats a lot more. I just did not feel well last week at all. And I was in the hospital hooked up to IVs, which is not fun.
Intrusive thoughts like setting off the fire alarm so we can all go home. And it's the worst too when you like first thing in the morning, you barely just had your coffee or whatever type of caffeine you had.
I can't even drink coffee.
Talk to you in the morning. Imagine getting a mug like this. Like first thing in the morning. Hey, I heard you a freak in the sheets. Ah! Direct deposit $1,400. Me at Subway, add a cookie. Bro,
wow.
I'm telling you, when you get paid bi-weekly, when that direct deposit hit, it's like that one scene in Pursuit of Happiness where he's like crying tears of joy. He's just clapping. He's just like in the middle of the...
Until you become a salary position and you're... I mean, it's a nice check when you're corporate, but that once a month, I really did not want to be management again after that. That crap sucked. And, I mean, it prepares you for like a lot of times with the writer stuff. I won't see the royalties and stuff for that for weeks. And then I get it in a lump sum. And it's because I was used to a salary position. And as I'm going to call myself the office manager, because even though I was still doing the finance stuff, they had me doing double duties, running office stuff, and doing my bookkeeping. It was rough going from bi-weekly, like every other non-management employee got, to that once a month big check. But, you know, it was still a big check, and sometimes I miss it, but I don't miss the work.
What makes
wow, first
tight is
ad.
all these sounds for space. You know,
oh my gosh.
A bunch of cool sounds.
Really?
Bro, it's really hard out here. Everything is so damn expensive, right? When that direct deposit hit, you feel like $1 million. Like, we gonna make it. We gonna be straight, right?
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around.
But like,
I use that for Chantel in the shirt, and it still cracks me up because he cut out the part where she goes with your broke ass, but that is my favorite part.
You know, it's hard because when I went to McDonald's last year, You know how you get like, a la carte burger by itself, you know what I'm saying? Or you get the value. The burger by itself was $9.
Wow.
That used to be a whole big size, like super sized value meal at that time, right? What is going on? But I'm telling y'all, when you see that direct deposit hit and you're hungry and like you finally get to eat stuff that's not like cereal bowls of ice and like ramen noodles, bro, you gotta splurge on yourself.
Bachelors be struggling. A cereal bowl full of ice. A $9 burger from McDonald's? This is why our species tend to find a mate, work together in a home. And that's why I couldn't wait to get home, because hospital food is why I lost 21 pounds. Cooking is a key. And eating out all the time, that'll blow your budget. That's why I love my new merch where it says budget is my love language. Because I shop smart. I stock up because we got some real winter here. I'm sure you did, $2 Amir. But I can't be out there fast fooding it up all the time. That's, I already gained enough pandemic weight bacon when it was a couple of years back, but still.
You gotta treat yourself, right? Add a cookie to that Subway sound, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Some hoodies don't hoodie the way other hoodies hoodie. If you're not a hoodie person, you wouldn't understand, because this is probably the quote of the century.
It feels like weird Gen Z, youngin stuff. I wear hoodies because, like I said, we live in the frozen tundra. Sometimes you want a hoodie or a sweater or a shawl around you during the day. But all my hoodies pretty much are the same. I like the zip-up hoodies more than the pullovers. And I use the hood optional if I want to. I don't understand this language. It feels like they are talking gibberish. Exactly. Sometimes, though, you go to Aldi's, you get that no-name stuff, and it sometimes does the job, but I do like buying name brand, too, especially now that I'm older. It's like, I got to get stuff with fiber and all kinds of vitamins in it. I can't afford to not afford that.
This is Shakespearean. You know what I'm saying? This makes total sense in my head.
I don't think it's Shakespearean.
I got on now, I got Kilowatt. Like, this hoodie is hoodieing. Like, it's one of those that hoodie, right? But I got other ones where I've had them for a long time, but they just don't hoodie the same way. Like, it's a level of hoodie.
I feel like they're talking a different language.
There's so many different factors, because some hoodies fit differently, right? Some fit you a little bit more loosely, and you might like that more. Some you match with everything. Some is you're going out, like just running to 7-Eleven type hoodie, but that's your hoodie right there. And then other hoodies just don't hit the same.
I don't like any of you.
Just saw someone my age being extremely talented. Day ruined. Bro, I don't know what this is, but this is real, because
another younger thing. Most of the people my age, we might be falling apart health-wise from time to time. Our lives might not go every which way we want it to, but we got our shit together, Gen X. I'm sorry. I know people like to dunk on us, like to blame us for boomer stuff, say we don't do anything. The reason why you have technology, the reason why you are voter conscious, the reason why we have good fucking music is because of us Gen Xers. A lot of us are talented in music and writing and art. All the movies that you claim to love in the theaters and stuff, especially the big name stuff from James Gunn and beyond, Gen X. So, yeah, my day is not ruined by somebody being extremely talented. I pump everybody up. My day is more ruined when I find out a friend's sick, or when their kid's sick, or their grandbaby's sick, because we're at the age where our friends are having grandbabies now. It's wild. And then here I am thinking about having another one with Axiom Wolf, and it's like, I could just wait and be a grandma, but then I watch Kiddo do something goofy, and it's like, no, we might just have baby number 2.
And especially during the winter, that seasonal depression is real, bro. I be stuck in the house, winter, you be eating.
Not only that, but it depleted my vitamin D, which I got to take those pills 3 times a week now at 5,000 mgs, because I didn't realize that, unlike the South, I didn't get enough. I've been up here almost 6 years, and I didn't get a lot of sunlight, apparently. So my vitamin D levels were tanked. And my therapist got me a happy light for my seasonal depression that sometimes kicks in during the winter. And that works from time to time, but it don't raise them vitamin D levels. So if you're in Michigan, always check them levels, because vitamin D can get low without you even noticing. And it helped tank my calcium. And the iron regimen that I was being strict on myself about was also absorbing calcium. Found that out from a dietitian. It all matters, y'all.
Like crumbs falling all over you, crumbs in the bed, and then all of a sudden you're on TikTok, you see some like 5-year-old doing the most talented thing, and you're just like, what am I doing with my life?
Just hanging around.
And then in your head, after you see this talented person or whatever, you're like, what is my excuse? Like what am I doing with my life? Like, why am I like this?
I love it here in Michigan, but I did not realize that being a vampire would not work out for me well. I definitely need sunlight, and it's harder for people with my melanin to absorb sunlight anyway. So it depleted all the vitamin D. And trust me, my guild had jokes. They probably still have jokes when I finally get back to playing with them on Sunday. I expect to hear a bunch of D jokes, and that's what I get for being a part of a guild full of dudes. They are frat boys, even in their 40s or 50s. I still love them. Been with them for over 12 years, so I can put up with the jokes. But I know it's coming because one of my friends texted me when I let him know I was in the hospital for the 3rd time. And he was just like, you're still not getting enough of the D. And I was like, oh, Lord. But they're like my brothers, and I really do appreciate the fact that they were looking out for me. Y'all are appreciated for real.
Right, and then it's back to on TikTok. You got Netflix open, you got your computer. Like, bro, just wrap it up. I didn't know that LTR stood for long-term relationships, so I thought all these Tinder bios began with "just got out of a Lord of the Rings, not looking for something serious."
I mean, the geek in me appreciates that tweet, and I don't know much about Tinder, but I've been learning all kinds of abbreviations being on YouTube and other social media sites because I don't want to be that old person that writes LTR to people and not know that a long-term relationship, because I'm definitely not looking for one of those. It is hilarious though, the way they abbreviate some things, the way they condense some things. Like I said, the older I get, the less I want to deal with the fuck shit.
Bro, this is me with certain like acronyms or like shortened phrase, whatever they're called, right? Because when somebody says DMV, like they're from the DMV, I'm like, you from the Department of Motor Vehicles?
That's what I got too.
Sending a risky text is very exciting until they don't respond within 0.0001 seconds, and you realize you're going to have to flee the country and assume a new identity.
Really,
this
though?
is the worst because the anticipation and my anxiety levels are just through the roof. Because
I know it's gotta be a young person thing, because sometimes I'll get a text from somebody, I'll read it if I'm busy or I'm writing. They have to wait for a bit. Even Axiom Wolf has learned. I will text her, not now since I've been sick. He texts me, are you alright, every time he can. So I let him know so that he's not thinking I'm passed out or anything back here. But a lot of times he'll text me something and I'm just like, I'll get to this later. I really still hate when my phone chimes. It's a part of both the introversion and antisocialness that I sometimes wrestle with. But if I send somebody a text, I don't always expect an immediate response. Then sometimes, because I'm friends with a fellow writer, I'll get a whole ass book that I have to read from them. And it's like, okay, let me read this and try to respond properly. So it takes me a bit. It is what it is. I don't see why it's so pressing for somebody to not get an immediate response to a text. I think they meant risque, but that's another thing with some of these youngins. They just say risky. They just put words that don't belong. And you really, nowadays especially, shouldn't be sending too risque of a text. I know back in the day, there was no holds bar, people sending all kinds of nudes and stuff, but you can end up getting yourself in trouble or blackmailed. So, just a bit of mama's advice, don't send risque texts to people. It's not worth it. Especially, she looks cute. There's no reason.
I need you to respond with something to match my energy or above, because if you sense like a short phrase or like a one word, I'm out of there. I'm just jumping off a building.
Wow.
And this anxiety on iPhone is a different level, because sometimes you'll see that they read your message or you're undelivered forever, or you'll see them, which is I think one of the worst case scenarios, is that they're typing. You see that little like 3 dots, like the little ellipses at the bottom, and then they just stop typing. And now I'm like, okay, what happened?
Take me off.
Living in the South is wild, because someone could say, I'll bring a salad, and you have no idea if they're bringing vegetables or a mayonnaise-based.
Oh my god, this is so true. Like, there was places, like when my godparents were really bougie and sedity, where you knew a salad was just going to be a salad, but they also sometimes had those noodle salads. But then you get to, like, where I had the townhouse, and it was a nice little neighborhood, but this is why I avoid potlucks. Because sometimes they would have Jell-O salad, with Jell-O with bits of vegetables in it. Or mayonnaise Jell-O. Or worse, potato salad that wasn't seasoned, but loaded down with mayonnaise and raisins. Tuna salad, which I can't eat because of my allergies, loaded down with mayonnaise. And it's just like, I don't want to offend anybody that likes that stuff, but I don't do that. And mayonnaise is situational for me. And it don't belong on salad at all. Ugh.
Monstrosity. And this is real, too, because we've seen it in struggle meals where people are bringing these salads.
And that's a good point, too, Grandman. Not to interrupt him talk about salads, but we got away with a lot of stuff as Gen Xers because there was no cell phones. You could do wild things with your friends, and there was no documentation of it. I enjoy that a lot of my memories are in here, and with a few other people who, they won't talk either because they don't want to be implicated in stuff. We have fun times. And I sometimes feel bad for those in the digital age, even though I love a lot of the digital age, because so many people are just chronically online now, just telling all their business, putting their stuff out there. As I said earlier in the Bonnet Chronicles, it was used against Auhmed Abery's killers because all their bigoted and racist stuff was there for the judge to look at. People are chronically online, and while I have a boundary on what I'll share anymore, it's sad that a lot of the youth are living their dum-dum phase online. I hung out with skaters, especially back in the day, so I'm glad some of the antics that we got up to was not chronicalized, because, you know, that's something you get to enjoy in your youth, and then you can go, no, I was an altar kid. Wasn't, but you know what I mean.
And some of them decent, right? You know, especially when you see the Thanksgiving where it's like a whole bunch of people bringing a dish or whatever. But some of these are like, what is this, like, mayonnaise casserole? Like, what did you make? Like, did you make this up? Like, was it a family recipe? Like, bro, take this back.
Exactly.
Son, I can't sleep. The bougie man's under the bed. Me, don't you mean the boogeyman? Voice from under the bed. Wow, the thread count on these sheets is pathetic. Bro, imagine if we have, like, you know, the monsters at night when we sleep and stuff were just judging us, right? But, like, it wasn't even like a regular monster. It was like Room Raiders, like MTV Room Raiders with, like, the boogeyman, whoever else is under the bed.
Wow.
Trying to solve the murder.
All right, y'all. I had a really good time laughing at some of these tweets. And like I said, if Twitter stops being owned by apartheid edgelord, I'll have no problems one day showing my face or my opinions back on there. But I really am happy on Spoutable. I think it really is a better platform. We don't argue on there. We have healthy conversations, sometimes debates. If you come in with fragile feelings and try to attack anybody's identity or ethnicity or any of that stuff, you're going to get your feelings hurt. So if you're coming with that kind of fight energy, don't waste your time. Spoutable, for me, is the way I wanted Twitter to be. The way Twitter should have been after 10 years, but instead, Jack got his $44 billion bag from a dum-dum apartheid edgelord, and now it is a hell site where people battle like it's Thunderdome. So to save my blood pressure, which was good, by the way, y'all, all the tests that were run, I did pretty well in other things that most people think, well, she's kind of thick, which, does she have this, and that? No, I don't. Cholesterol was good, blood pressure was good, no diabetes. It was just vitamin D deficiency, very low calcium, low magnesium, that they raised those both up, and I just got to work on things. I've got my vitamins, I've got my medication, I've got follow-ups with the specialist, so I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Action Wolf gets off work in about 45 minutes from now. I'm going to try to get some dinner made for us. I got kiddo fed already. I want to thank everybody who sat in with us. Beans, I believe it was Loto, Granamir, thank you all. I know I've been gone for a bit, so I know it's going to take some time for all the regulars to realize that the cobwebs have dusted off and I'm back. I will hopefully be back for Tell It Tuesday. I've got an early appointment in the morning with the I believe kidney specialist to make sure that all the calcium stuff that I'm taking doesn't cause any buildup. So far, so good from the last labs, though. I don't think the regimen is affecting, but I did just start the bariatric melts for the calcium until the stuff that the doctors wanted me on gets in. I had to order these myself because no pharmacies up here would fill it. They kept telling me over the counter was not raising my calcium levels. But it is what it is. If I can't get it that way, I will order it myself. So both Axie and Wolf and I got big jars of the stuff that I'm supposed to be on, because it's supposed to be calcium, not the citrate that I'm on, but it's a different one, and carbonate. So it's going to be an ordeal for a while, but I'm happy to be home. I've been home for 4 days. Fingers crossed that they keep me here, because I don't like hospitals. But I do like you all, and I hope to be back really soon. Thank you all, and have a really good night. I know that we normally end it with the gem. That will be back on, hopefully, Tell It Tuesday or Fridays, because Tuesdays is when the action will stay off. But y'all don't need me meandering. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all soon.